حاسبوهم. هلا من خبر؟ هل نحن مستعدون؟ إنهم قادمون.
Once again, Lebanon. This tiny Mediterranean seaside nation is plagued by civil war. For the third time in less than 50 years, the United States government is sending its Marines into the troubled city of Beirut. This time, under the umbrella of NATO, in response to unrest that escalated when the Lebanese Prime Minister was flown out of the country for emergency medical attention.
Back, this is Gladiator 2. We need a gunship at Kilo Sierra 143-539. Target is a technical. Over.
NATO began military operations in Beirut yesterday, following the collapse of peace talks between Lebanese militia and leaders of the militant group Atash.
Copy, Gladiator 2. Target with Foxtrot, Quebec 122949. 81s are on their way. Over.
Form up! I want to hear talking guns! Watch your geometry!
FO, this is Gladiator 2. We need to shake and make a tango. Echo 4-592.
Keep your angles!
Copy, Gladiator 2. Target with 75-901. 81s are on their way.
Now, United States Marines prepare for an aggressive assault into the heart of Beirut.
NATO command has just confirmed that 6 civilians and an unknown number of insurgents were killed in the last few hours during clashes between Colonel Akbar al-Soud's Lebanese militia and radicals from the extremist group Atash, led by prominent fundamentalist leader Tariq Qadan. This is the first outbreak of sustained fighting between the two leading insurgent factions in Beirut since the arrival of U.S. and NATO forces last week. In response to the renewed hostilities, U.S. Marines have stepped up patrols to secure the El Carantina district of Beirut, just east of the NATO base here at the main port facility. NATO officials will not confirm persistent rumors that members of the Syrian Special Forces have been providing support to Colonel al-Soud. If these rumors are true, the presence of well-trained and equipped Syrian Special Forces would mark a significant change in the balance of power between Atash and al-Soud's militia, increasing the danger faced by U.S. forces in the city and threatening the stability of the region as a whole. This is Amber Wolf, embedded with Echo Company of the 28th Marine Expeditionary Unit, reporting live from Beirut.
The situation in Beirut took a turn for the worse today when fighting between the Lebanese militia and the radical group Atash spread to the 73-acre campus of the American University, home to nearly 7,000 students. There are no reports of student injuries at this hour. INN will continue to follow this story and report on any new developments. From Beirut, this is Gary Rush.
This is Bennett Urban. It appears that self-proclaimed Lebanese militia leader Colonel Akbar al-Soud is now the primary target of U.S. military operations in Beirut. While military officials refuse to comment about specific mission goals, U.S. Marines are operating at this hour in the La Sagesse area of the city, known to be the primary residence of Colonel al-Soud. INN has learned that Marine units securing a warehouse in the El Carantina district last night uncovered hard evidence of Syrian support for al-Soud's militia, and there are now confirmed reports of Syrian troops in Beirut. Sources have told me that al-Soud may in fact be acting under orders from Syrian commanders, and one source indicated that they may now soon be able to name the Syrian leader. In Beirut, I'm Bennett Urban.
In Intense house-to-house fighting erupted in La Sagesse today as U.S. Marines moved to arrest Lebanese militia leader Akbar al-Soud. Al-Soud initially eluded capture, but was later tracked to a factory where Marines located a large cache of Syrian weapons. Following the operation, Pentagon officials announced that al-Soud is no longer a factor in this conflict. Over 20 militants were killed or captured during the fighting, and an unknown number of injured Marines have been evacuated to a hospital in La Etoile at the heart of the city. Intelligence reports have identified General Badr, a former Yemeni national with extensive terrorist connections, as the leader of Syrian forces operating in Beirut. While Badr has not yet been seen, his right-hand man Khalid Samar has been spotted with Syrian forces in the city. This is Amber Wolf reporting live from Beirut.
This is Jerry Talbert reporting from a location near the American University in Beirut. Forces of the radical group Attash have just taken control of several buildings on the north campus of the university, along Bliss Street, a major thoroughfare here in the city. There are scattered claims of an Iranian Special Forces unit operating with Attash insurgents in the area under command of exiled Saudi Major Abdullah bin Katan. Although my sources at NATO Command will not confirm these reports, INN analysts are not surprised at an Iranian move to balance Syrian influence in Lebanon. I'm Jerry Talbert for INN, reporting live from the battle for Beirut. This is Jerry Talbert reporting. Last night, U.S. Marines launched successful airstrikes on radical positions along Bliss Street in front of the American University. Marine forces rescued over 50 students, and all are reported to be safe, with only a handful of minor injuries. I have been told that Marines took a large number of prisoners in operations following the airstrikes. Pentagon sources tell INN that the threat of Iranian involvement has been neutralized in those operations with the removal of Major Abdullah bin Katan. I'm Jerry Talbert for INN, reporting live from the battle for Beirut.
Widespread violence erupted in the L'Etoile neighborhood of Beirut today. Syrian and Lebanese militia forces now control much of the city center, including a local hospital, which had been under the control of U.S. and NATO forces. Despite widespread rumors on the street, there are still no confirmed sightings of General Badr in the area. But military sources are confirming reports that Badr's lieutenant Khalid Samar is at large and taking an active role in leading hostile forces. Earlier this evening, INN lost contact with reporters Bennett Urban and Amber Wolf, embedded with U.S. Marine units fighting in L'Etoile. They appear to have become separated from their unit during combat operations. All of us at INN hope Bennett and Amber are simply unable to communicate with us for technical reasons. More on this story as it develops. From Beirut, this is Gary Rush.
This is Amber Wolf. Early this morning, U.S. Marines rescued my colleague Bennett Urban and myself. Bennett and I had been hiding in an abandoned building in the La Etoile neighborhood for over 6 hours after we were separated from our Marine unit during an intense firefight. Bennett and I wish to express our deepest thanks to the brave Marines who rescued us. Happy to be reporting live from Beirut, this is Amber Wolf for INN.
This is Jerry Talbert reporting. NATO officials confirmed that General Badr's Syrian and militia forces are now approaching the Grand Serail and other key government buildings, following heavy fighting earlier today in the L'Etoile neighborhood of Beirut. I am told that more U.S. Marines are inbound from troop transports offshore to meet the threat of increased numbers of Syrian forces. In other news, Khalid Samar, General Badr's right-hand man, was the primary target of an operation earlier today in La Sagesse. U.S. officials say the operation was an unqualified success. Samar is believed to be behind the deadly ambush of a U.S. Marine convoy that left an unknown number of Marines dead or injured. I'm Jerry Talbert for INN, reporting live from the battle for Beirut.
Over the last few hours, heavy fighting has broken out here in the marketplace of Fornachebek, one of the oldest neighborhoods of Beirut. We have heard persistent rumors that Marines are pursuing Tariq Khadan, leader of the radical group Atash, but officials will only confirm that Marine patrols are operating in the area. Despite recent setbacks to Khadan's Atash radical group, NATO officials have stated that Khadan remains a serious threat to stability in Beirut. From Beirut, this is Bennett Urban.
This is Amber Wolf. Today, Syrian and Lebanese militia forces under command of General Badr captured the Grand Serail and other key government buildings here in Beirut. The U.S. and NATO have given Syria 24 hours to remove all forces from Beirut, but Syria refuses, claiming the legitimate government of Lebanon requested their aid and that it is the U.S. and NATO who should withdraw. This is Amber Wolf for INN.
INN has confirmed that operations yesterday afternoon in Fornachevik were intended to capture Tariq Khadan, leader of the radical group Atash. While Marine officials have called the operation a success, we do not yet know whether Khadan was captured or killed by U.S. Marines. There has been no reaction from Atash. In Beirut, I'm Bennett Urban.
U.S. and NATO officials have reported total success in combat actions in and around the Prime Minister's office at the Grand Serail. All government buildings are back in the hands of civilian authorities, and the threat of Syrian and militia forces have, in the words of one U.S. official, been neutralized. Casualties to American and NATO forces are described as light. INN is attempting to determine the current status of General Badr following the battle for the Grand Serail. Some sources are telling me Badr was killed in the fighting, while others report he was captured by Marines in the last hours of the battle. We will continue to follow this story. From Beirut, this is Gary Rush reporting for INN.
The Lebanese Prime Minister returned to the country today, fully recovered from his surgery abroad. He will be meeting with U.S. and NATO officials offshore on the command ship, the USS San Antonio. He is said to be eager to return to work and to get started with the task of rebuilding the government. A speech is scheduled for tomorrow morning, possibly on the campus of the American University, if it is considered safe by U.S. and NATO forces. This is Amber Wolf, reporting for INN live from Beirut.